We'll be starting in just a minute. We're giving people some time to funnel in. Okay, I think you can get started when.
Okay. Hi, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for spending your valuable time to attend the community meeting. So today's meeting will go over the park improvements for McKnew Local Park. Before the presentation start, some logistics. The presentation will be 60 minutes long. So that including the presentation as well as the question and answer at the end of the presentation. And this meeting is being recorded. It will be posted on the project website linked here. So you can find the recorded meeting notes. During the presentation, you can enter the questions or comments by clicking on the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. And after the presentation, please fill out the open town hall survey that will be open until June 7th. So the survey link is in this sheet. If you take a snapshot, and it can direct you to the survey link. Here's the agenda. So first of all, it's a refreshment for phase 1 status. So we had the open town hall on phase 1 about a year ago. Just want to give the community an update on where we are for phase 1. And the main focus for today's presentation will be on phase 2, the overall park improvements. And after that, we'll talk briefly on the schedule of both phases, and then we'll open to the question and answer session. So this park improvements project is made available with all the generous funding from the state. We have a grant from the State Department of Natural Resources. It's a $250,000 grant for local parks and playground infrastructure. And we also got a bond bill for this park renovation. It's also $250,000. It's sponsored by State Senator Craig Zucker. So I believe Senator Craig Zucker is also in today's meeting. Thank you very much. So here's the existing site. This park, McKnew Local Park, is pretty big. It's over 22 acres, but the majority of the park is covered with natural woods, and so it's kind of a preserved natural park, and only the southwest corner of the park is developed. It has a loop trail, playground, courts, and an open field. So briefly updating about the phase one. Phase one include the playground renovation and the tennis court renovation. So if you this is the existing condition of the playground. The image is turned 90 degrees, so north is on the paper right hand. The existing playground has two play area and a gazebo. And the Beagle swing, the one on the north end, was installed a couple years ago. So that one will stay. Everything else will be renovated. If anyone has attended open town hall early in 2023, you're probably familiar with this plan. So it shows all the equipment and shelter we're proposing for this project. So the open town hall at that time was asking if people support this pathway that proposed on the south side of the Beagle Swing. It's kind of separate the new playground and existing, but also provide a connection from the sidewalk to the loop trail. So majority of people respond, said they support this trail, this pathway. And the other question is about the color scheme. Most people select the cool color scheme. So this is we are going to install this summer. It's include the large structure for 5 to 12 years old, and you can also a 4-bay swing set at the background, a shelter, and on the right side is the smaller structure for 2 to 5 years old kids. Here's a closer look, a different angle for the large structure for 5 to 12 years old kids. It has a lot of exciting components, climbing, different slides, and shades as well. Here's different view for the 2 to 5 year old. It has double slide, some hiding space, a lot of different activity panels, and a small swing as well. And this hiding place for kids seeking isolation, just for fun. In addition to the large structure and the shelter, we're also including the double bay zip line, which will be very exciting for this park. And there will be a small mini gypster, and a communication board is a new feature that's being included in almost all of our new playground. The board will has English, Spanish, as well as Braille. In addition to the playground renovation, in phase one, we're also going to bring a new drinking fountain at the location of the old drinking fountain, which has been removed years ago. So we're bringing back the drinking fountain, and the drinking fountain will have the high bowl, low bowl, pet bowl, as well as a bottle filler. And inside the playground, we're going to have a solar table. This is also a new feature in the park system. It has a solar panel for the shade, but also the solar provide like charging station for your phone, tablet, or your laptop. And it on this small platform, it's a wireless charging station. So our first solar tables were installed at Columbia Local Park. It's not far from McKnew, and that park is under construction, should be open to the public in a couple months, very soon in the summer. And this project went through the permit process, and we're required to provide stormwater management. So that stormwater management area will be located between the tennis court and the basketball court. And the tennis court will also be renovated this summer. So I'll pass it on to our engineer, project engineer Eric Su, to talk a little bit on this tennis court renovation.
Hi, everybody. I'm Eric, project manager on the tennis court renovation. Currently, the tennis court is in poor condition. The pavement has cracks throughout with the paint on the fence post chipping away, and the fence fabric is bent out of shape. Um, with that being said, I'm excited to let you know that the tennis court will be renovated this summer. The renovations will include replacement of the fence with a new 10-foot high black powder coated fence with accessible gates, a leaf gate for better maintainability, and a new rebounding wall to practice on. The net posts and net will be replaced and will match the color of the fence. And the pavement will be renovated by a stone dust and asphalt overlay, which will provide a court surface that will be as good as new. And once that is complete, then the court surface will be color coded and striped. And then so it will be a really nice place to play tennis.
Thank you, Eric. So we talked about phase one, that's going to happen this summer. Let's focus on the phase two parking improvements. So I framed out the phase one that's going to have a significant change this summer. So the rest, including the parking, the basketball court, and the loop trail, as well as an open lawn area. This open turf playfield is not in the scope of the renovation, so the turf area will remain the same, but our scope including the parking lot, basketball court, loop trail, and additional features. So just some images. Most of you are familiar with the park. These are some existing pictures. You can see that the trail condition is pretty bad. It's cracking everywhere, and you can see a little bit of the leftover pad for the old drinking fountain. So the new drinking fountain will be installed in approximately the same location. And more pictures along the trail. And you can see the tennis court on the left, upper left picture. Upper left corner, the tennis will be renovated, and stormwater management area will be along the strip. And this tree will unfortunately be gone because the stormwater management area is going to be located here. And the basketball court, it's a smaller than the full size, and it has drainage issue as well. You can see a little bit along the east side of the court. So we are going to enlarge this court to a full size and also resolve the drainage issue. And a few more pictures along the trail. It's a nice trail with good view, but the trail doesn't have any shade. It's just fully open trail. So we want to add some shade trees and bench and seating along the trail to make it even nicer. So in phase two improvements, we're going to include the following items. We're going to resolve the drainage issue at the tennis court and the basketball court. We're going to enlarge the basketball court to the full-size court. And some of the options will have fences, partial fences around the basketball. And we're going to have the trail improvements. The trail will be resurfaced, and we are going to improve the accessibility throughout the park. And additional amenities that will be included in the phase two, including seating opportunities, fitness equipment, and landscape improvements to enhance the park view. So we're proposing three options in today's meeting. Option one will have an entrance plaza right next to the parking lot and also the intersection of the playground and the court. And that plaza will also be the entrance to the new tennis court. We are utilizing the existing trail to connect the parking lot and the enlarged basketball court. The trail will be resurfaced or reconstructed. Most likely will become a concrete walkway to get to the basketball court to address the ADA accessibility issue. We're adding the fitness equipment along the trail with its own path, and we probably will need to have a stormwater management area as well. So that'll be located at the corner of the loop path. So along the path, we want to add couple more fitness equipment. So the equipment will be distributing along the trail, and of course more seating and shades along the trail. So that's phase 1. And phase 2 is pretty similar to phase 1, except the main fitness station is moved next to the trail between the basketball court and tennis court. So this becomes a kind of a hub. It has the fitness equipment table with shades, bike rack, and you can get to the basketball court from there. And this basketball court will have partial fence along between the court and fitness station, and some fence between the court and the stormwater management area. And this option also has the spread fitness station along the trail, as well as seating opportunities. Oh, I forgot to mention this entrance plaza is going to have bike racks, seating opportunities, and trash can. Option 3 is slightly different. It has an enlarged entrance plaza. It also has bike racks, trash can station, and benches. And the main difference is option 3 are combining all the sports related amenities on the south side of the park. And then we're adding a trail so that the loop trail has a short option and the long trail option. And on the south side, the sports combined area, you will have this enlarged basketball court, a large fitness station with seating, bike rack, and table with shades. Okay, I want to talk a little bit on the fitness station ideas we are thinking for this park. The two images, one on the top and the one on the left, are the fitness station we installed in our park system. The one on the top, well, the one on the left side is at Falls Road Park. This was installed a few years ago when the fall protection regulation was not enforced for fitness station. So these equipment were installed directly over concrete pad. But then a couple years ago, we were required to provide fall protection for fitness equipment, kind of similar to playground. So these equipment we're installing for both park are the ground level equipment. So they don't have a significant fall height. Therefore, this protection surfacing is not very thick. It's relatively affordable. So that's what we're doing for most of our fitness stations. But the manufacturers are creating more ideas for fitness. So another option is the one showing on the right side hand. Anyway, so this one is a combined equipment. It has some muscle training, also ladders and crossbars. So it's multiple people can use the equipment at the same time. So these are considered fitness equipment with elevated components. so they have more fall height. Therefore, they will require more surface protection. So I made this chart to compare the difference of these two types of fitness equipment. On the open town hall survey after this presentation, there will be a question asking which type do you prefer, or so I want to explain a little bit here. The ground level equipment has individual pieces, and each piece of the equipment have specific function, such as the airwalk, the outdoor bike, chest press or leg press, those kind of things, and steps. So each of them has a specific function. While the combined multi-purpose equipment, it has elevated components, but it provide more flexibility in how you want to use them, and so people can use it as a challenging course, going from one end to the other, or multiple people can use the equipment simultaneously, encouraging more social interaction. So that's the main big difference of these two types. But because the multi-purpose equipment has elevated components, it all has more requirement for the ground surface, and that will be the cost will be much higher than the ground level equipment, which means you may have less pieces of equipment if we choose the elevated type. And the other thing is, because it's even though it's a compact size, but the size is bigger than the ground level equipment, meaning cannot be laid out as flexible as the ground level equipment. For example, the ground level equipment can be just spread along the trail, maybe one equipment as one fitness station, but the elevated equipment will have a larger station. It doesn't have that flexibility of distributing along the trail. So that's the main difference. I hope I explained it clearly, and you can help us make the decision on open town hall survey. So I put the three options here. You can see they all have the same feature. All three options have the same feature and same proposed improvements, but the layout is quite different. So let us know which option do you prefer on open town hall. In terms of the project schedule, as I said, phase 1 is going to start construction this summer, and Eric and I will coordinate on the playground renovation and tennis court to minimize disturbance and maximize the use of the park. The park will still open during the summer, but just use careful when you pass the construction site. We expect the playground will be open to the public in the winter. So the construction will, I say summer, but because the equipment lead time is several months, and we don't have a control on when the equipment will be available to install. So most likely we'll start the construction in late summer, early fall. So you will still have your current playground to use during the summer break, which I think it's good for the community. And we expect the construction to complete at the end of this year or early next year for the playground. For phase 2, we're doing the community input now in the first step. And after the community meeting and open town hall survey close on June 7th, we'll finalize the improvement design based on your input. And then we will hire a consultant to start the detailed design this summer or fall. And the design will continue through about a year to get all the required permits, and we expect to start construction next fall 2025, and the construction typically take 9 months to a year. So fall 2026, hopefully the whole park, you will have a new refreshed park. So I mentioned several times, please take a moment to complete open town hall survey. Your feedback and comments are very important for us to create a nice design for the community. The open town hall survey link is here. And for the project contact, I'm the project manager. My name is Wen Huang. I think I forgot to introduce myself at the very beginning. And the project engineer is Eric Xu, and the park manager is Dave Fisher. We're all attending today's meeting, so if you have any questions, we can answer. So that's all for today's presentation. We're open to the question now.
Thank you, Wen. I'll introduce myself. My name is Samantha Schron. I am the Architecture and Project Management Section Supervisor within the Park Development Division. So I am going to field some questions that came in during the presentation as well as in advance of the presentation. But before I do that, I wanted to make one clarification on the support for the funding. In fact, all 500,000 that we received through different funding sources were supported by Senator Zucker, as well as House Delegates Kaiser, Mareku North, and Queen. So I just wanted to make that correction, and we will correct that on the presentation before we post it to the website. So thank you, Wen, for running through everything, and Eric as well for explaining the court renovation. We got a number of questions during the presentation, and as I said, about 10 or so prior to the presentation. If I don't get to your question exactly, we will respond to it when we post questions and responses to the website following the meeting. We may consolidate if there are a bunch of questions that are on the same topic. Just depends on how we analyze it after we review everything together. So I'm just going to kind of go in order of the ones that came in during the call, and I'll pass them off to various folks from the park team who are on this call to answer. If I may be able to chime in myself, but I'm less knowledgeable about this particular project than other folks on the call. So the first question is it possible to have a shade or tarp? And we have been working on a project where we had done a shade, sort of a fabric shade structure in another park that we are correcting now because it didn't work out well for us in the end. So I'm going to pass that to Wen to comment on parks, and possibly Dave Fisher and Jeff if they want to chime in after Wen on the use of a shade or tarp.
So we are providing a larger shelter at the playground area. So that shelter will be roughly 16 by 28. It's larger than the gazebo that's currently presented at the playground. But over the fitness station area, we are planning to plant more trees, and also possibly add tables with shades, tables with canopies. The fabric shade doesn't work very well in our weather condition. Too hot in the summer and too cold with snow. In the winter, it's just hard to maintain to keep it in the long term. We like Samantha mentioned, we had a project. We had a similar fabric shade structure in downtown Silver Spring, and it didn't last as long as we expected.
Okay, thank you, Wen. The next, it's a comment more than a question, but please ensure tennis courts are designed such that rainwater does not come in or stay on for a long time. Eric, do you want to comment on the drainage around the tennis court when we resurface?
Yeah, I can talk about that real quick. So, like I said, when the court is renovated, they will use a stone dust overlay, which will raise the court surface by 4.5 inches. Um, so it being higher will help with the drainage, and also since they're putting a new layer of asphalt, um, it's it's um it's easier to adjust the grades at that point rather than work with just what you have existing and repairing. So yeah, that's something that we'll keep in mind and yeah, avoid
Yeah, and
when we.
oh, sorry. Sorry,
No, no
Eric.
problem.
So I on the plan you can see the very light line of topo lines. So that shows the existing drainage pattern that all the water is draining towards the court area. So in the plan, we're going to introduce a swale that carry all the water from that way to a inlet, and the inlet will goes to the stormwater management area. And also, the existing park has a drainage pipe under the playground and next to the basketball tennis court, but that pipe has been failed in the past years due to the tree growing too big or tree root damaged the pipe. We fixed the pipe last fall, I believe. So with all these um proposed device and the fixing of the pipe, I believe the drainage issue on the tennis court will be resolved.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Here we got next a conflicting comments from two different community members. So this is where we have to put our heads together and you know, come up with the best response and solution. So one comment was against putting in the solar panel and charger table. Their concern is why would we do it? And it would likely be damaged, you know, once it's installed and not very useful. Another person said that they really like the solar table idea and will there be more than one? So we will only be putting in one at this time. The solar tables are a little bit more expensive. But I will pass it off to Wen to talk about the benefits of having the solar table and why maybe we were thinking of putting it in this park.
Thank you, Samantha. So we, as I said, the Columbia Local Park is going to have 3 solar tables as the pilot. And for this park, I'm proposing the table at this location because initially I do want to plant a large tree to provide shade, but then because of that drainage pipe I just mentioned is right under this area. So we probably won't be able to plant a large tree, just the flowering tree, but it won't provide as much shade as I was expecting. So using the shade table with a canopy would be preferred in this location. So I think since we are doing that, why not just give the solar table a try? And it 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 has its benefit, and I understand some it may get damaged, but hopefully with the new playground, the community gets so proud of it and people will try to protect everything and not make it damaged. But I believe all the parents will find it's useful, especially if you can charge your devices, or some kids using the speaking device. This will be helpful as well.
Thank you, Wen. The next question is about the basketball court. Will the basketball court surface be improved to a composite surface, and will the backboards and rims be replaced?
The basketball court will be all new. The surfacing will be color coded to meet our most new basketball court standards, and the backstop, the hoops will also be new.
Yeah, so once phase two comes around, the court itself, the material of the court won't change, so it'll still be the asphalt court with the color coding, and then but one thing that we are doing is we're extending the court to a more standard 88 by 50 by 56 size. So that will allow ample space for playing.
Great, thank you. The next comment is a request for an additional tennis court, moving the basketball court further inside. So this is a larger impact question that I think is probably out of the budget allocated for this project. I'll let Wen add on to that if that's ever been talked about, or the limitations of the scope that we're working within.
Right, it hasn't been brought into my attention that additional tennis court will be in this park. And as you can see in this option, this first option retains the existing condition as much as possible. If we have one tennis court and one basketball court, there's barely enough space for another tennis court unless we encroach into the play area. But according to our athletic team, it's possible that in the future they want to improve this field for a better play, like a better play field. So with this tennis court, yeah, I just don't see any space for an additional tennis court at this time.
Yeah, in
It
addition to
requires,
everything. Oh, sorry.
yeah, it requires a significant change of the program for this park.
Yeah, in addition to the cost and the basketball court being there, there's also the stormwater management facility being installed just east of the tennis courts. So that kind of constrains the existing court to the current footprint.
Thank you. The next one I think I can clarify is a comment that the person prefers option one given the parking option for accessibility, but I believe that in all three options, the accessible parking would be located in the same location and provided regardless of the option that you choose. That's something that would remain constant between the three options.
Yeah, that's correct.
The next comment is, I believe, what are the differences between the three options? So I think I'm going to give it a go and see if I can say what the three differences are at a kind of high level explanation. So let's start with the similarities. The similarities are that the basketball court will be redone and enlarged. The tennis court will be resurfaced. The accessible parking will be installed. The loop path will be improved. And fitness equipment will be installed in all three options. The difference really comes down to the location of the fitness equipment. And as that moves around, the position of the basketball court is shifting to accommodate different fitness equipment layouts. And in the third option, it is shown with an additional horizontal, or I should say a path crossing the park, which enables you to have a larger loop for walking and then also a smaller complete loop for walking. That's kind of the overall big picture changes. There are some other smaller you know, tables, benches located along the loop path that shift a little bit, but those are smaller compared to the bigger idea of introducing that that smaller path that bisects, as well as the different locations for the fitness equipment.
Thank you, Samantha.
Okay, this question I'm gonna probably pass to Eric to a comment on. They understand that the center turf area is not part of the renovation, but their daughter's asking for a soccer goal. Just one, if not two, would be appreciated. So I think we got this in advance, so we were able to look at that. Eric, do you want to comment on the process for adding something like that to the park?
Sure. So currently the soccer goal isn't in the scope of the current renovations. Um, however, that our planning and our athletic fields team can investigate, um, the demand for the soccer goals, and if we do find that there's high demand and that this is an appropriate location for them, then yeah, it's something that we can move forward with once budget's available.
And since this has been raised, I think we will we will share that comment with that group and have a conversation with them now that this is happening, so that we can get that feedback and provide a more complete answer to you once we have a little more information from that group. But we will certainly share that comment with them as we move forward. Okay, next question is, will there be lights added to play tennis when it's dark?
I think maybe the park manager might be a good resource.
Oh, most of our park close at the dusk, and this park doesn't have light from the beginning. So adding light will be also a program change. We have our planning team is doing the light study for the entire park system. So I can bring this this request to them to see if this park is a fit location for providing lights.
I'm not sure that it was a request to add lights. I think it was simply a question was to whether they would be added. So right now, no. But as Wen mentioned, our Park Planning and Stewardship Division is preparing guidelines to help us determine which locations are appropriate to light courts, various courts or fields, etc. So at this point, we're not planning that, and that would be a future endeavor if it were to be identified as one that should have the lights. Okay. Sorry, I'm just checking I got another comment in favor of the solar table. Okay, back on the shade, the equipment gets very hot in the summer. Will trees be planted to provide some relief? Adults can't be that far from young children while they're playing. Please consider the logistics of it for adults who will be accompanying young children. So I think this is a request really for shade around the playground, but I think we have the shelter there now, which is larger, as Wen said, than the existing gazebo, and is situated between the two playgrounds. So that should provide some nice shade for parents to sit. Will there be tables under the shelter?
Yeah, there will be two picnic tables under the shelter. And the shelter is also located right next to the younger kids equipment. And we are the shaded table, the solar table is not far. So these two shade features are provided. This is a large playground. We can only plant trees around the playground. And most of the larger and the larger equipment and the smaller equipment all have its own shade structure on it. Yeah.
Okay, great. Comment is that we mentioned covered seating for the trail. Will this impact negatively the request for shade seating close to the playground under phase 1? Nothing that we're doing in phase 2 will negatively impact the program of phase 1, if that's the question. And when do you want to describe the seating around the trail again?
The seating around trails are for now it's just benches along the trail with a bumped out seating area, so it won't interfere with how people using the trail. And we are going to definitely plant trees around the seating area to provide shade.
Okay, great. I've got another request for the soccer goal, so we will be sure to pass that that request, that interest onto our athletic field team this week. Will there be playground equipment for children with disabilities, ramps, or swings for wheelchairs?
So yeah, the swing, see if we can move it back to. So the playground is engineered with fiber surfacing. That's our standard surfacing. And the playground does there will be ramp provided next to the shelter along the main path, going down to the playground for kids to access to the playground. And the swings, both let me see, this zip line has a seated option versus a this option. So the seated option can be used for kids with disabilities or younger kids. And the swing, sorry. The swing also have a accessible seat option as well.
Do you want to mention about the communication board again?
The communication board is now a standard for all of our new playground. The initial idea is to help kids with disabilities, speaking delay, to help them to communicate with parents. But I think it has added benefit for everyone to learn different languages at the same time. So this is our very first communication board. Our later board has English, Braille, and Spanish all on the same side. So it's a good learning tool.
Terrific. Okay. We got another plug for the goal on the field. Somebody commented that the field space is not utilized by many, and adding the goal would enable more people to use the space. And another comment in favor of the soccer goal, as well as the solar table. So of course, these are comments that the group on this call is making, which is terrific. We're hoping that more people beyond the people who are able to attend tonight are able to chime into the open town hall and provide more comments so we can get feedback from everyone in the community. Those are all of the, oops, let me see, one more came in. I've got one more question from those that came in during the call, and then I'm going to just scan through the questions that came in prior to the meeting. And let's see, the next one is, depending on how close the walking paths are to the basketball courts, it might be best to go with the option that would limit basketballs bouncing off the court onto the paths. Will there be fencing around any part of the basketball court? Wen, do you want to handle that?
Sure. So in the option 1, we are going to have fence along the walkway side and south side, because the slope start to slope down, and there's a swale along the south side. So we want to have a fence to protect the wall from bouncing away. On the second option, we are having fence between the court and the fitness station, and fence on the right side between the stormwater management and the court. So it's all partially fenced. Same thing for option 3. I think in this option we have fence on all 3 sides. Yeah, but it's open towards the fitness station.
Okay, great. The next question is, will the wall be replaced in the tennis court or will it be removed completely? Eric, do you
It'll-
want to take that?
Yeah, it's gonna be replaced
Replaced
with the new one.
with a
Yeah.
new wall. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm going to flip over to a couple of the questions that came in before the meeting. When will the construction begin and end? I think this is worth going back to that slide just to touch on the beginning of the construction and the end date for phase 1 and our anticipated beginning of construction for phase 2. When do you want to touch on that?
Oh, sorry, I was just moving to this slide about the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So phase 1 will start end of the summer or start of fall of 2024. It's this year. And we expect the construction to last for a few months, 3 to 4 months. So the playground should be open to the public at the end of this year or early next year. And for the rest of the park renovation, we will finalize the design after the community input period and then start the detailed design this fall. And then it takes about a year to get all the permits and another year to finish the construction.
Okay, great. There was a comment to make sure to install a rubber floor instead of mulch and wood chips. I think in the playground to really improve accessibility. Do you, Wen, or Dave or Jeff want to comment on the rubber flooring in the playground area versus the mulch chips?
I can comment on that. Our standard playground surfacing is mulch. The rubber surfacing has a lot of there has been a lot of conversation about what kind of surfacing we're providing to the for the kids, and many people are concerned of rubber surfacing being toxic or not environmentally friendly. So we only use rubber surfacing in the floodplain when mulch is very hard to maintain. That's the park policy at this time. And plus the rubber surfacing can be very, very expensive, especially considering the play equipment are getting higher and higher. We always need to protect the fall. The safety is always the biggest concern, the biggest thing we need to take care. So the fall protection will require a much thicker rubber surfacing, and because of people's concern of rubber being toxic, we are only using virgin rubber, which add the cost again. So it's a balance to spend money on the surfacing or spend money on the equipment. So we are using taxpayers' money, so we always want to make it a wise choice. But yeah, engineered wood fiber is our current standards for all the playgrounds.
Thank you. Just a couple more quick questions. Will we provide some way to get there by bike? So are we providing some bike racks in the?
We are,
Okay,
yes.
let's just point that out again.
So in all 3 options, we're providing bike racks. Option 1, in the entrance plaza, we're proposing bike rack will be located next to the entrance plaza, and in option 2 and 3, they are also going to have bike racks near the fitness area.
And tagging on to that, can you point out if we're providing new trash cans in the park? There was a question about improving that.
Yeah, currently, in the playground area, we are going to have trash cans right next to the shelter. And I am showing trash cans in the plaza area for all three options. But in move on to the detailed design, we will work with the park manager to continue find out the best location for trash cans.
Great. Question about doing anything in the park that's dog friendly. We're not providing any fenced areas for dogs in this park, but there is a question about adding bag stations. I have not seen that in our parks, but I might have missed it. Do we, when you're not providing any bag stations for dogs, are you?
Not in the schematic design, but I want to pass it on to Jeff or Dave. What's your thoughts on the bag station?
I mean, if you put it in there, we'll absolutely maintain it. I didn't see anything in your design for it, but it can be added, I guess. We're fine with that. It's not an issue for us.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
We will consider that as we move forward and check with what we've been doing lately in other park renovations and see what's been working for our residents. The last one is really just a comment that they're interested in the adult fitness equipment. So when you have a chance to look at the open town hall, you can further look at the choices between the more compact and elevated type of fitness equipment versus the ground level and spaced out equipment. And certainly shoot us any questions if you need more information. So I think that got us to, let me just see if there are any, okay, got a couple more that came in while I was reading those that from before the meeting, a couple more came in to the chat. So could you find out from Howard County what is used for accessibility in their parks? Yes, Wen and I can look at that, and I am aware that there is a recently renovated or new park in Howard County that is fully accessible. We will check on that. Trash cans by the basketball courts will definitely be needed. So we can take a look at that. And many residents that use the park path, they use it to walk dogs. It would be appreciated to include dog bag stations here. Okay. So that's good information. I think that does bring me to the end of the questions that came in. So I really appreciate everyone taking their time to join this call, this meeting, to hear about the project. Your feedback is invaluable as we move forward with the design, and we will provide this presentation on our website along with a summary of the questions and answers when we've had a chance to bring that together. And then we will also post the results of the open town hall. When we'll evaluate all that information along with Eric, the park manager, and other folks on the project team as we continue to develop it. And we look forward to starting construction later this summer. Do you have anything else you want to add, Wen?
Yeah, I do encourage people, whether you've put questions in today's presentation or not, put that in the open town hall again, because that's where the central location that we're collecting all the feedbacks and comments. So it'll be very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone who joined from the Parks team, and thank you to the community for joining us this evening.
Thank you.